y'all, so I just completed a 3-day fast, and on the last day of my fast, I had no clients. I told God I wanted to spend a day with him. So I went to the park and I recorded. As I was walking in the park, something kept telling me to go to the mountains. And I went. I had nothing to do. So I was hiking, and as I got closer to the top, these were the things that God showed me. As I got closer to the top, and as I was at the top just watching the view, these were the things that God showed me. And I was sitting up top, I saw an eagle flying, and it just looked so peaceful. Its wings were spread, it was soaring, and it looked very strong and confident. And then it was like a few minutes later, I was meditating and then opened my eyes, and a few minutes later, I saw a bunch of birds flying together. And it looked like they were just like, not bumping into each other, but it looked like they would bump into each other. It looked like chaos, like blind leading the blind. So with that being said, God shows sometimes when he separates you, is not a bad thing. Because the difference I saw when a whole group of birds flying together versus when I saw that eagle, that kind of reiterated what I showed you guys in my last post if you want to watch it. And this is also what he taught me. As I got closer to the top of the mountain, it was the steeper that it got, and it was hard. So what God showed me was the closer you get to your breakthrough, the harder it would get. But as I was climbing to the top, there were moments where I took breaks, and there were moments where it wasn't so steep, it was just straight. And it felt a little easier for me to walk. I wasn't breathing hard, and I heard the word ease. So God will only allow us to God will allow us to have breaks, and he will not put on us more than we can bear. That's what came to me in that moment. But you have to keep going so that you can get that breakthrough. You will break through. Now, I hope that all made sense. I just kind of put that out there because those were some things that I learned going up. Now, the real thing, the real woo, y'all, it was coming down. You would think that going up would be the hard part. No, it was not. So, now, this part, I'm going to tell you guys this, but hold on to it because it's going to make sense later. As I was going up top, as I was walking up top, I kept hearing always go right. And every time I was about to make a right, it wasn't the right way, so I was a tad bit confused, I won't lie. So I just kept walking, I got up to the top. Make sure you hold on to that part. But when I was coming down the mountain, I'm singing, I'm talking to God, and at some point, I realized that I'm lost. I got lost, yeah. I don't know how I got lost in these mountains, but I don't know. But I was supposed to make a turn somewhere, and I didn't. So I turned around and I started walking back. There was like a part where you separate. It was like a Y to where you could choose which way you wanted to go. Either I had to go right or I could keep going straight. I decided to keep straight. And I walked again. I ran into this man, his partner. He was saying, I know these trails, if you turn around, it's going to be harder. So I walked with him because he told me he would show me where to go. Y'all already had climbed this mountain. I was tired. This man made me reclimb the mountain, and he was walking so fast. I could tell he had done it on a regular, and I almost gave up. I almost told him, just go ahead, but for some reason I couldn't give up. I kept walking with him. When I got to the point where I was supposed to branch off from him, he told me that it should just be down from there. Y'all, I walked and it just led me to another portion of the mountaintop. I felt like if I had kept going, I was gonna go down, like off the cliff down. I turned around again and I followed the tracks back to the way that I came and went back down the mountain again. As I'm walking, my brother called me and we were talking, and I had to tell him that I had to, call him back because my battery was getting low. And I needed to find my way because I remember when I was walking in the park maybe a month ago, and an old friend called me. I hadn't talked to him in months. We talked and my phone ended up dying. Y'all, I ended up losing my keys and I had to walk like 3 miles to get to a phone or charge my phone. So, and I remember that, and I was like, I'm not about to allow my phone to die while I'm up on this mountain. But I realized in that moment that moment prepared me for this moment. I knew better to not sit there talking on the phone that my phone died. So I turned it off to preserve the battery I had in case I needed it. I finally made it back to the little Y where I should have made that right. I looked at it, it was another uphill, it was uphill again. I sat down and I was like, God, I can't do it. I can't do it. I was about to cry. And I heard him tell me keep going. I was like, man. And so I started walking up the mountain. So I walked for a bit, and as I'm walking, I could feel myself about to get discouraged. So I started praying, y'all. Like, because I could feel it coming, I started praying because I told y'all I already pray Psalms 91:23 in the mornings. I pray the armor of God over me every morning, so it equipped me already. And I pray the armor of God over myself again. I said, I put on the helmet of Savior salvation right now, and I rebuke the spirit of discouragement. I pray the sword of the spirit, and I said, God told me to not be afraid or discouraged because he is with me wherever I go. I said, I put on the shield of faith. I have faith that God is going to get me to my car. God said he is with me, and God does not lie. So I put on the belt of truth. I put on the breastplate of righteousness because I want God to see me, to see my heart is upright in his eyes. I came into this mountain for him, and I put on the gospel shoes of peace because God told me to be anxious for nothing. So lastly, y'all, my ankles was burning. My ankles was burning. I have flat feet, so when I stand for a long time or I walk a long distance, my ankles give out on me. And they were burning at this moment. So I started to say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I kept repeating it over and over and over. So as I'm climbing up the mountain, I kept saying, God, I trust you. God, I trust you. I kept praying. And then I saw this man. I told him where my car was parked and asked if he was going, I asked him if I was going the right way. And he said, yeah, you're almost to the top. He said, when you get to the trash cans, make a right. And when you see, he said, when you see any sign, just keep going right. And he said, it should take you back to the visitor center, which is where my car was. Y'all, I almost dropped my knees and I started smiling and I said, God, that's what you was telling me. And then he started like revealing to me everything. He replayed to me when I turned around and didn't make that right the first time and I kept walking. He told me in that moment what I heard was lean not in your own understanding. He showed me when my brother called me that the enemy can sometimes try to distract you. Y'all, my brother is my heart. So please take that from a spiritual perspective, not physical. But he showed me how the man took me back to the top and I still had to turn around. The enemy will try to delay you from reaching your destination. And lastly, what he showed me was that sometimes when he gives us instructions, those instructions may not be for right now, but for a later time. And I was like, oh. And then I said, God, you were testing me. And then I saw like this vision of like a flash of a man laughing, and I started to laugh too. And I said, you know what, God, thank you. Thank you for those lessons. And before I knew it, y'all, it was still a 2.8 mile walk for me to walk. And before I knew it, I realized I had walked a total of 12 miles. And right at the point where I thought I could not walk anymore, my ankle was about to give out on me, like seriously, I saw the parking lot and I saw my car. And guess what? This ain't even the part, y'all. As soon as I got to my car, it was getting dark. God will always see you through, and God is always on time. That's just it. I just wanted to give y'all that lesson because it was good to me, and I hope I delivered it right to y'all.